Coming from someone whose majority of their ethnicity is surprisingly Irish, I know, it's shocking. Alcohol in general, just the knowledge of it, has always come in through my life, whether or not I admit to having a few drinks. So, which is exactly why I chose the topic to lower the drinking age to the age of 18. So as a brief overlook, we're going to first look at the history of alcohol in America, how the current drinking age laws are in the United States, some of the negative effects of this law, and how lowering this law can help solve the problem. Let's start with the history of alcohol. As you know, history is a major driver of my life, so it's not a surprise you'd be seeing this. Some of the first pilgrims in America, actually, the reason that they stopped at Plymouth wasn't because it was a specific destination, but more so that they ran out of alcohol to drink. According to the History Channel show, America, the History of Booze. So let's jump forward to the 1920s, during the time when Prohibition was enforced. This was a law banning the consumption of anyone in the United States to be able to drink alcoholic beverages of any kind. During this time, it was the #1 law broken in America, and it still continues to be the #1 law broken in American history to this day. So let's look at the current law on drinking. So right now, the national age of the United States is 21. This was passed in 1986 by the U.S. government as a sort of a project grant sort of way, to where the United States government would you would either be forced to pass this law to put the minimum drinking age at 21, or your state would lose 10% of its funding and 10% of its property on the federal highway system. But before the drinking age was actually put at the standard of 21, you can see here that it was actually, the majority of the United States were actually either at the age of 18 or at least below 21, the light blue states being the ones that had the minimum drinking age at 18. The purple ones having it at 19. The blue ones having it as varied between 18 and 21, and the red ones having it at 21. Oh yes, and the purple one is at 20. So why this current law doesn't work? According to the CDC, over 33% of teenagers in the United States have indulged themselves in some form of alcoholic beverage. 18% of teens in the United States are currently binge drinkers, which is some of the early stages of developing an alcoholic habit. Also, 8% of teens in the United States have also driven a vehicle after indulging themselves with an alcoholic beverage. So, a lot of you are thinking, well, why is binge drinking so bad? You know, sometimes, you know, the real fun starts after, you know, your third drink. Well, like most bad habits, they develop in your teenage years, and according to the U.S. National Library of Medicine, it says that more alcoholics form their habits by actually starting that binge drinking habit in their teenage years. So why lowering this law will help? The main reason that this law is broken so much is because this law has a low impact on crime that you could do and a high yield. It's not that hard to go into your parents' alcohol cabinet or wherever they store it and just to sneak yourself a couple drinks now and then. It's, like I said, low impact, high yield. It also gives you that adrenaline feeling of being on the edge without having to do something really dangerous like robbing a bank or something like that. Also, one of the major solutions to this is decriminalizing this. Like again, reverting back to Prohibition, when certain laws like these are put into effect, crime organizations will take the benefits of these and to criminalize it, creating a new industry of crime. As we saw in the Prohibition era in Chicago, some of the most famous mobsters formed because of this illegal means of alcohol, and they would start, you know, running it across the United States. And as we can see in some states where they have legalized marijuana and decriminalizing it, statistically crimes have gone down just in general, not just with drug-related crimes. But now on to some statistical facts rather than analyticals. Some more reasons to lower this drinking age to 18. According to militarysource.mil, over 35% of people in the United States Armed Forces are under the age of 21. Now looking at that, logically, according to the eyes of the United States, you can go off and fight and potentially die for your country. But you have to wait a little bit longer to enjoy yourself an alcoholic beverage of any kind with friends of yours. Lowering the age to 18 has shown that there are statistically less people that develop alcohol-induced habits, according to Dr. Am, a doctor working at Harvard currently. And based on research by Procon, statistically, there is a lower rate of drinking-related accidents in countries where the drinking age is 18. So in conclusion to this entire speech, first we looked at sort of like the history of booze and how it has impacted the United States. Then we moved on to the current drinking age law and how it has progressed over time. And next we moved on to why this is statistically not working. The negative impacts greatly outweigh the positives, and why lowering this age limit would help.